Welcome to the Bible Quiz. Today, we're about to dive into a challenging Old Testament quiz that will truly test your knowledge. We've crafted 25 of the hardest questions from the Old Testament, so brace yourself for an exhilarating experience. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. Your support means a lot and helps us share the Bible's wisdom with more people. Once you've completed the quiz, let us know in the comments how many questions you got right. We'd love to hear from you and be part of your Old Testament journey. Are you ready for this ultimate test of Old Testament knowledge? Let's get started. Question 1. Who wrote most of the Psalms? A. David. B. Moses. C. Samuel. D. Solomon. You get 10 seconds. That's A. David. Known as the sweet psalmist of Israel, David's compositions express a variety of emotions, from worship and praise to lament and repentance. The Psalms became a central part of both Jewish and Christian worship, prized for their depth and poetic expression. Examples of David's Psalms include Psalms, chapters 23, 51, and 139. Question 2. Which book tells the story of Joseph and his brothers? A. Exodus. B. Genesis. C. Numbers. D. Leviticus. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Genesis. Genesis chapters 37 to 50 recounts the story of Joseph and his brothers. It begins with Joseph's dreams and the jealousy of his brothers, leading to him being sold into slavery in Egypt. Despite these difficulties, Joseph became famous in Egypt and eventually forgave his brothers, reconciling with them during the famine, highlighting the theme of forgiveness and German guidance God. Question 3. Which man was swallowed by a big fish? A. Jonah. B. Daniel. C. Ezekiel. D. Jeremiah. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Jonah. In the book of Jonah, chapters 1 to 2, Jonah is called by God to preach in Nineveh, but instead he flees, leading to a stormy sea where he is eventually plunged into the sea. Swallowed by a big fish, Jonah remained in its belly for 3 days and nights before repenting and returning to God's mission. This story reflects the theme of God's obedience and mercy. Question 4. Who built the first temple in Jerusalem? A. Saul. B. David. C. Samuel. D. Solomon. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Solomon. Solomon was the king who built the first temple in Jerusalem. In 1 Kings chapters 5 to 8, Solomon fulfills his father David's wish to establish a central place of worship for the Israelites. The temple, also known as Solomon's Temple, housed the Ark of the Covenant and became the focal point for religious ceremonies and sacrifices. Question 5. What contest determined who would be chosen as the first king of Israel? A. Draw lots. B. Horse race. C. Polishing. D. Stone throwing. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Draw lots. In 1 Samuel chapter 10, the prophet Samuel used this method to select the king, indicating that the choice was guided by divine will. Among the tribes, families, and individuals, the lot fell on Saul, marking him as the chosen king. This event was a critical moment in Israelite history, transitioning from judges to monarchy. Remember to hit that subscribe button and join our community to stay updated on all the amazing content we have planned. Question 6. Who won the battle with Goliath? A. Saul. B. David. C. Solomon. D. Jonathan. You get 10 seconds. That's B. David. The young shepherd faced the giant Philistine warrior armed with only a sling and a stone. Despite Goliath's intimidating size and strength, David's faith in God gave him the courage to confront and defeat the giant. This victory not only established David's reputation as a brave warrior, but also demonstrated that God's power can overcome any obstacle. 1 Samuel chapter 17. Question 7. Who instructed to paint lamb's blood on the door to protect the firstborn from the destroying angel? A. Isaac. B. Aaron. C. Moses. D. Abraham. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Moses. The Israelites, under the guidance of Moses, painted lamb's blood on their doorposts to protect their firstborn sons from the destroying angel during the Passover in Egypt. This event is described in Exodus chapter 12, where God commanded the Israelites to use lamb's blood as a sign for the angel of death to pass over their homes. Question 8. Which book contains the 10 Commandments? A. Exodus. B. Deuteronomy. C. Leviticus. D. Both A and B. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Both A and B. In Exodus chapter 20, Moses receives the commandments on Mount Sinai, outlining key moral and religious laws for the Israelites. Deuteronomy 5 recounts these commandments as part of Moses' address to the new generation of Israelites before they enter the Promised Land. These commandments are foundational in Judeo-Christian ethics and theology. Question 9. Which book in the Old Testament describes the creation of the world? A. Exodus. B. Leviticus. C. Genesis. D. Numbers. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Genesis. The first chapter of Genesis narrates the process of creation, where God creates the heavens and the earth in 6 days, culminating in a day of rest. This foundational narrative sets the stage for the rest of the Bible, introducing key concepts such as God's sovereignty, the creation of humankind, and the beginning of life on earth. Question 10. Who was the first person called the father of the Israelites? A. Isaac. B. Jacob. C. Ishmael. D. Abraham. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Abraham. In Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3, God called Abraham to leave his homeland and go to a land that God would show him. God promised to make him the father of a great nation and to bless him, indicating the beginning of the covenant between God and the Israelites. Abraham's faith and obedience laid the foundation for the nation of Israel and established him as a central figure in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Question 11. Who had the dream of a sky ladder? A. Saul. B. Jacob. C. David. D. Joseph. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Jacob. In Genesis chapter 28, while fleeing from his brother Esau, Jacob has a vision of a ladder reaching from earth to heaven, with angels ascending and descending on it. In this dream, God reaffirms the covenant made with Abraham and promises to bless Jacob and his descendants, representing the connection between heaven and earth and God's ongoing guidance for Jacob's lineage. Question 12. During the journey to rescue the Israelites, who was Moses' main assistant? A. Aaron. B. Caleb. C. Miriam. D. Joshua. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Aaron. Aaron, Moses' older brother, was chosen by God to support Moses in leading the Israelites out of Egypt. Aaron served as the spokesperson for Moses, since Moses had concerns about his speaking abilities. He also played a significant role in performing miracles and acting as the high priest, helping establish the religious structure of the Israelite community. Exodus chapter 4, verses 14 to 16. Question 13. Who was chosen as a prophet to replace Elijah? A. Jonah. B. Ezekiel. C. Elisha. D. Jeremiah. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Elisha. In 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 19 to 21, Elijah found Elisha, who was plowing with 12 yokes of oxen, and threw his cloak over him, symbolizing the transfer of prophetic authority. Elisha then followed Elijah and became his devoted disciple, ultimately inheriting Elijah's role and performing even greater miracles. Question 14. In the Old Testament, which city was destroyed because of its sins? A. Jericho. B. Babylon. C. Nineveh. D. Sodom and Gomorrah. You get 10 seconds. That's D, Sodom and Gomorrah. According to Genesis chapter 19, God decided to destroy these cities due to their extreme wickedness and moral corruption. God sent 2 angels to warn Lot, who escaped with his family before the cities were destroyed by fire and sulfur. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a powerful illustration of divine judgment against sin. Question 15. Who was deceived and married Leah instead of Rachel? A. Isaac. B. Jacob. C. Joseph. D. Abraham. You get 10 seconds. That's B, Jacob. Jacob agreed to work for 7 years to marry Rachel, whom he loved. However, Laban, Rachel's father, tricked Jacob by substituting Leah, Rachel's older sister, on the wedding night. Jacob only realized the deception the next morning. Despite this, Jacob agreed to work another 7 years to marry Rachel, ultimately marrying both sisters and setting the stage for the family that would become the 12 tribes of Israel. Genesis chapter 29. Question 16. Which creature has 6 wings? A. Seraphim. B. Cherubim. C. Dragon. D. Griffin. You get 10 seconds. That's A, seraphim. The prophet Isaiah describes a vision of God's throne room where the seraphim surround the throne. Each seraph has 6 wings. With 2, they cover their faces. With 2, they cover their feet. And with the remaining 2, they fly. The seraphim continuously praise and worship God, saying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty." These heavenly beings emphasize the holiness and glory of God. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 2. Question 17. Who placed the scythe on the pile of rice to harvest according to God's instructions? A. Ruth. B. Elisha. C. Gideon. D. Naomi. You get 10 seconds. That's A, Ruth. After her husband's death, Ruth followed her mother-in-law Naomi to Bethlehem. There, Ruth worked in the fields to gather leftover grain. This story showcases Ruth's loyalty, hard work, and God's providence. Ruth's gleaning and faithful approach eventually led to her redemption through Boaz, as detailed in Ruth, chapters 2 to 3. Question 18. Which book in the Old Testament was written by Solomon? A. Proverbs. B. Ecclesiastes. C. Song of Songs. D. All 3 books above. You get 10 seconds. That's D, all 3 books above. Solomon is traditionally credited with writing Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. Proverbs is a collection of wise sayings and advice for leading a moral life. Ecclesiastes reflects on the meaning of life and the search for purpose, while Song of Songs, also known as Song of Solomon, is a poetic dialogue celebrating love and romance. These books demonstrate Solomon's diverse insights and contributions to biblical literature. Question 19. What is the place where the Lord had broken out against Usza called? A. Baal Perazim. B. Perez Usza. C. Kiriath Jearim. D. Beth Shemesh. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Perez Usza. In 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 6 to 8, Usza, one of the men accompanying the Ark of the Covenant, touched the ark to steady it as it was being transported. His action was against the divine instructions, and as a result, God struck him down. This incident caused King David to be fearful and reconsider how to transport the ark safely, reflecting the importance of following God's commands precisely. Question 20. How many talents of gold did Solomon acquire per year? A. 666. B. 120. C. 40. D. 15. You get 10 seconds. That's A. 666. In 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 14, indicates the vast wealth Solomon amassed during his reign. The annual receipt of 666 talents of gold illustrates the prosperity and grandeur of Solomon's kingdom, driven by trade, tribute, and the fame of his wisdom. However, this significant accumulation of wealth also foreshadows the excess and challenges that would later arise in Solomon's reign. Question 21. Who had a dream about 7 skinny cows and 7 fat cows? A. Isaac. B. Jacob. C. Joseph. D. Pharaoh. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Pharaoh. Genesis chapter 41. Pharaoh dreamed of 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows. This disturbing dream was interpreted by Joseph, who explained that it symbolized 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine in Egypt. Joseph's interpretation and subsequent plan to manage the famine led to his rise to power in the Pharaoh's court, allowing Egypt to prepare and survive the harsh years ahead. Question 22. What is the word of the cross to those who are perishing? A. Truth. B. Wisdom. C. Foolishness. D. Power. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Foolishness. The word of the cross to those who are perishing is foolishness. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18, the Apostle Paul explains that the message of Jesus' crucifixion seems absurd or meaningless to those who reject faith. However, for those who believe and are being saved, the same message is seen as the power of God. This shows how the meaning of the cross can differ depending on one's spiritual outlook. Question 23. What appeared to lead the Israelites at night when they left Egypt? A. Cloud. B. Pillar of fire. C. Angels. D. Column of smoke. You get 10 seconds. That's B, pillar of fire. A pillar of fire appeared to lead the Israelites at night when they left Egypt. The pillar of fire provided light and direction, allowing the Israelites to travel safely at night. This visible manifestation of God's presence reassured the Israelites and demonstrated divine guidance during their exodus from Egypt. Exodus chapter 13, verses 21 to 22. Question 24. What did God use to guide the Israelites through the desert during the day? A. A dove. B. A bright star. C. Pillar of cloud. D. A pillar of fire. You get 10 seconds. That's C, pillar of cloud. Exodus chapter 13, verses 21 to 22, describes how God led the Israelites as they journeyed from Egypt to the Promised Land with a pillar of cloud during the day. The pillar of cloud not only showed the Israelites the way to go, but was also a visible sign of God's constant presence and guidance throughout their desert journey. Question 25. What did Isaiah tell Hezekiah to rub his boil with to cure him? A. Honey. B. Olive oil. C. Fig leaves. D. Fig poultice. You get 10 seconds. That's D, fig poultice. Following Isaiah's instructions, Hezekiah applied a poultice of figs and he recovered. This event is part of a broader story in Isaiah chapter 38 about Hezekiah's illness, his prayer to God, and his miraculous healing, which extended his life, added 15 years. Oh, what an intense journey through the Old Testament. How did you do it? Whether you get good grades or learn something new, remember that the Old Testament is filled with timeless lessons and fascinating stories ready for us to explore. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and share with your loved ones to see more difficult quizzes and in-depth Bible content. We'd love to hear from you, so leave your scores, comments, and any suggestions for future quizzes below. Together, we can continue to develop our understanding of the Old Testament. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and may you be blessed with the wisdom and inspiration of God's Word. See you in the next video.